Yo, what's going on, guys? KrispyFlakes here for today's video. We are checking out these 5 NBA teams that have the most bleak future, man. So the word bleak means bitch ass. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna, kind of go through this video here by Andy Hoops, and I think as we watch this, we're actually gonna give our opinions on how to fix these teams. All right, let's get it.
Out of all teams that made the playoffs, it's safe to say the Cleveland Cavaliers were the team that people watched the least. I mean, there's a reason why. Like, every game in the series between the Cavs and Magic were on NBA TV. Even with Donovan Mitchell being an extremely talented,
yeah, that's some real hater stuff there by the network.
Who just had an incredible postseason until he got injured. He just doesn't have the same draw as most other stars. Lost in the discussion, however, is something...
I mean, I disagree with that. In the words of Joakim Noah, it's Cleveland. You know what I'm saying? Like, it literally took the GOAT of basketball to put Cleveland on the map. That's no disrespect. Trust me, I'm not disrespecting you guys. It's an issue with big market versus medium market versus small market teams, right? Like, it took LeBron to put the Cavs on the map. Once that happened, they had their... It's like even their biggest story was kind of like LeBron returning. And then whenever LeBron would leave, it's like, hey, we play LeBron. You know what I'm saying? Like, Donovan Mitchell's cool, but he's played for the Jazz. He's played for the Cavs. Let's not use those teams as examples of marketability. Let's put him on the Knicks, and see what happens. I bet you that jersey sales top 10. So I don't think it's Donovan Mitchell's fault.
Contentious that was reported prior to the start of the playoffs. The buzz in NBA circles suggests that barring a run to the NBA Finals, Mitchell will decline an extension and look elsewhere. And the Cavaliers are more likely than not to move him well before he can leave outright as a free agent.
Yeah, I mean, it was a failed experiment. Only one team can win the championship, and that wasn't the Cavs. It's like I don't think anybody was really thinking that Donovan Mitchell wanted to be in Cleveland. Like, he didn't hate playing there, but he didn't want to be there. That wasn't his first choice, leaving the Jazz. So,
Huge damper on their future plans if Mitchell leaves, because they gave up so much to get him.
Yeah.
How's it going, folks? My name's Andy, and today I want to talk
Short-term
about
investment.
several NBA teams with quite a
long-term
bleak
risk.
future, even if it doesn't seem like it at first glance. How did these teams put themselves in such a precarious position? Let's take a look.
I'm gonna just pull the trigger, you know what I'm saying? Like, they just get...
Back in
it's
the
just
summer
excitement trying to do something in the moment.
When they made the trade for Donovan Mitchell, it was initially seen as an okay trade, I guess. At the time, Colin Sexton's career was going downhill, and nobody knew Larry Markkinen would...
Markkinen, Sexton... Yeah, I mean, I look at it now and, like, people will say, oh, man, like, y'all give it Markkinen, but Markkinen wasn't doing what he was doing on the Bulls, and it's like he was playing small forward on the Cavaliers and everything, which is, like, fine, but it just wasn't, I don't know, it just wasn't working. Like, it was time for something different, and I look at this now and it's like, Sexton was coming off injuries. I've always seen Sexton more as a six-man anyway. I don't remember who the picks was, though. Oh, that could get dangerous. That could get dangerous.
The jump he did. However, nobody thought Donovan Mitchell was able to elevate his game like this either, as he made another jump when he arrived to Cleveland. People remember how they got dismantled by the Knicks in the playoffs, which, yeah, sure, that did happen, but his first season in Cleveland was more successful than anyone anticipated. They still finished the season with the second highest net rating out of all teams in the league. And even though
I already got my comparison for basically like who they are.
With Mitchell playing only 55 games, the Cavs still registered a phenomenal 36-19 record in the games he did play, 12-15 in the games he didn't. In terms of immediate success, the trade for Mitchell worked out better for the Cavs than it did for the Jazz, who, despite Lowry's improvement, they're still struggling to make it back to the playoffs. Unfortunately, you also have to consider what the future of this team looks like.
Well, you also have to consider where Mitchell was taking him to. He didn't get it done on the Jazz, him or Gobert. So, I mean, I don't know. I think the Jazz are still in a better place because they decided to step away from Mitchell. Like, I'm like, is just making the playoffs? That's not the goal. That's not the goal. Like that's like the first thing you want to do. You want to make the playoffs. You want to win championship, right? So, yeah.
Of this video, Mitchell's desire to stay in Cleveland is up in the air, and they also gave up 3 first-round picks to get him.
Whew, don't though.
From the way the Cavs are built, they need him. In fact, he's like the only player on this team who can consistently generate offense.
Very true.
In theory, this roster complements him quite well. They got
well, yeah, and like the way I look at them is, man, see, this is not really a great example. So if you guys have a better example, let me know in the comment section below. But you know, they're kind of built like the Memphis Grizzlies back in the day. You know, with Zebo, Marcus Gasol, and it's like it would win some games, but it wasn't winning championships. But you know, I think Donovan Mitchell is better than Mike Conley. Who else they have? They also Tony Allen. I guess Mike Miller for a bit. Who else was on that team? I said Mike Conley, right? I said Mike Conley.
Defensive.
But you know what I'm saying? Kind of build around that tall ball type of
they got some
style. That's kind of just not it anymore.
Though it could be better. And they're a fairly young team who will grow alongside him. The Cavs are a legitimate playoff team, but their entire existence revolves around Donovan Mitchell. It doesn't help.
I think
they're
Garland's
also
that
in the
guy
top
too, though.
10 in payroll, well over the salary cap, with not much wiggle room to improve the roster. With the biggest question being Mitchell's commitment to the Cavs, the second big question is, what in the world happened to Darius Garland? Not too long ago, it seemed like he was on the verge of becoming one of the NBA's next generation of young point guards. I still remember how everyone used to wonder who was going to have a better career, Garland or Tyrese Halliburton.
You know, I had a bad day yesterday, but I'm having a good day today. You can have a bad season, then you can have a good season. So I think he's going to be okay. He's going to figure it out. We know it's really just seeing that you are capable of even doing it. And he's capable. So, I mean, is he better than Tyrese Halliburton? I mean, no. But he's still going to be a top 10, 15 point guard for the duration of his career if he can stay healthy.
They were compared quite often, but Halliburton has run away with it, while Garland has flown under the shadow of Mitchell. Before the playoffs started, the Cavs were
he's not a number one. Let's call it, call it like it is.
In order to get what they assumed was an easier matchup against Orlando, as opposed to facing Philly or Miami in the first round. Mitchell has made it very clear he wants to make it further in the playoffs if he's gonna re-sign with Cleveland.
So but not tall ball wise, because you know their bigs are a lot more skilled. I'd say like Bankero.
To entice him to stay by winning a playoff series,
Franz.
It's definitely not a good signal for your superstar.
Chicago Bulls.
Besides having the NBA's best attendance,
man, what do I gotta say about the Bulls? I mean, the only reason I say their future's bleak is because you guys have been unfortunate when it comes to point guards. You know, like Derrick Rose, obviously over the years. Lonzo Ball, I think he's dribbling basketballs again, which is nice. DeMar's old. Zach LaVine is like a third option on a championship team. Yeah, they're just kind of in nowhere's land. Nowhere's land. Yep, that's what it's called.
Numbers, the Bulls, on paper, should be better. If Lonzo hadn't got injured, they would have been a much more competitive team, because he's exactly what they're missing. A fantastic playmaker who can play off the ball within the flow of the offense. The worst part about being stuck as a play-in team is you'll never get great value from the draft. While it's not uncommon to see lower lottery picks become superstars in the NBA,
Blake Griffin got us there,
there's a much higher chance their picks were higher. It feels like they haven't drafted a guy truly capable of being the franchise star since Derrick Rose back in 2008.
They haven't really been there though to do so, have they? Like I mean, I think about their draft history, and you know, P. Will did not break out like I thought he was going to. Kobe White. Good score, man. I said since day one, man. These small ass guards. I know. I guess Kobe's not really small. He's like 6'3". But you know, like these score first point guards, they need to know their role, man. And their role is guys like Jordan Clarkson. You know, Jamal Crawford. Like people get so offended when you say, yeah, they'll be a 6-man on championship team. It's like that's not disrespectful. That's something every great team needs. So Kobe White, Colin Sexton, guys like that, to me, they're 6 men. Good 6 men, too, which every team needs. So,
combined with the Bulls having the 9th highest payroll in the entire NBA, the results do not reflect their spending.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're paying old head DeMar DeRozan like he's, 2016 version. It's just not there no more. He's still a good player, but not like that. Pay for the worth, not the past.
Fans point to Jerry Reinsdorf as the biggest culprit. If the Michael Jordan era never happened, the Bulls would be arguably the worst franchise in the history of basketball. However, it's this quote from him that did not sit well with fans.
I like big butts and I cannot lie.
I think the important thing for fans is, while they want you to win championships, they want to know that when you get to the last month of the season, you still have a shot.
I think the important thing for fans is while They want you to win a championship. They want to know that when you get to the last month of the season, you still have a shot. That kind of goes hand in hand.
Playing meaningful games. If you can do that consistently, you'll make your fans happy.
No, you won't. No, you won't. You're going to piss them off. Ain't nobody trying to get swept by the Milwaukee Bucks every single season they get to the playoffs. Detroit basketball, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, nobody's trying to be the middle of the road. That's the worst place to be. I will always enjoy a rebuild over an 8 seed. Every time. Now it gets kind of sick after a little while. But, you know.
Now that's kind of strange. So from Jerry's point of view, as long as his team remains somewhat competitive, even if they don't have a shot at the title, the fans would be okay with that? Are Bulls fans really okay with being in the play-ins year after year? It's the downside of being one of the NBA's most popular teams. The Bulls led the league in attendance again. Even with a mediocre team,
really?
fans will still show up
Shout out
to watch
Chicago,
this
y'all do show
crapshoot.
up.
Because of that, management and ownership doesn't feel the urge to change things, as long as the money keeps flowing in. It feels like we've been waiting for this team to blow it up for a while now. It's clear this roster, with its unfortunate injury luck, has reached its ceiling. DeMar DeRozan's contract expired, Zach LaVine suffered another injury, and Lonzo's career is in limbo.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big three.
Well, it's the perfect time.
A mid three, but you know what I mean. Like,
that's
a lot
to a lost cause.
Wizards.
There's a bright.
I don't know what the hell Washington Wizards management is thinking. Man, I remember back in the day when y'all had Gilbert Arenas. Well, now Gilbert Arenas is an interesting character himself. You know, Caron Butler, Antoine Jameson, Deshaun Stevenson, you know, John Wall, Bradley Beal, and now it's like, what y'all doing, man? Jordan Poole and Kuzma? Say that out loud and say that's going to be the backbone of a championship. Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma. They literally need a team of veterans and maturity to keep them in line. Like, they're just out there having fun, which is great, but it's not great if you're a fan. Like, I had fun at the YMCA, but I'm not making no damn $25-30 million a year doing it.
Side to the Wizards' misery. They have all of their draft picks and more, but that's basically
they just make dumbass choices.
And just because you have all your picks doesn't mean they're going to turn into great players. With the way their roster is currently built, it's clear they still want to tank. So hopefully draft players who can help them win in the future.
Probably don't.
So during this time, we're going to be watching Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma lead the greatest tank job in
What was the
history.
one dude they got a few years ago, man? I called him the commercial because he had his own commercial. I can't remember his name. Draft and bust.
Oh, here's a fun fact. Out of every player in the league who attempts at least 15 shots a game, Jordan Poole has the worst efficiency. Kyle Kuzma has the fifth worst efficiency. Considering these two make up the bulk of their possessions, it's no wonder their offense looks so bad, and their defense is even worse. After trading away Daniel Gafford, they have no dedicated rim protector, and no Marvin Bagley.
They got my dude
count.
Eugene though.
The Wizards have also experienced a ton of turnover with their coaching staff and front office. Perhaps it's a good thing. It shows they're trying to change. With that being said, there is something cool to keep in mind. I've heard people criticize the Wizards for signing Kuzma and Poole to long-term deals. But if you take a look at their contracts, the amount of money they're getting paid is pretty high, but every team needs to reach the salary floor. So they gotta spend money somewhere. The length of their contracts seems bad at a glance, but here's the thing. While the Wizards are losing a lot, they will have many chances in the top of the draft.
But why aren't they spending, though? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you have the money to spend, why can't you convince anybody to come?
Time Poole and Kuzma's deals are over, they should have enough young talent to lead them to the next era. So at least the Wizards have established a solid timeline to follow. Hopefully, in the best case scenario, those picks will turn into productive players. Remember the post-KG?
Brooklyn Nets. Ben Simmons is still around, right? He's still doing things. Yeah, he sucks. I like Mikal Bridges. I don't like him as number one. They want him to be number one option. He's the third option on a championship team. His role in Phoenix was perfect. Who else they got? Cam Thomas. You know, I have him right there with the six-man type of dude. You know, I mean, he can score as a bucket, you know, as a starter, but you're not going to win games. So, yeah, there's not really got a lot going on.
The Paul Pierce era in Brooklyn? where they basically gave up their entire future for a bunch of old guys who left shortly after.
Yep.
Well, on the bright side, this time, at least they have their picks. When the Nets traded Kevin Durant to Phoenix, they were pleasantly surprised with how they finished the season. For about 2 months, Mikal Bridges was looking like an absolute stud, maybe even a
I would
potential
love him in Detroit so much.
star
I'll give you
for
all our
Brooklyn.
pick right now for him.
He put up
And
numbers
Ivy.
on a comparable efficiency to Kevin Durant, and so the Nets falsely believed Bridges could lead them further. Well, the 2023-24 season was a wake-up call. As Patrick Beverley put it, he tricked y'all.
Huh?
Bridges' production plummeted, and he's not even the best player on the team anymore.
But
He
that's
cemented
not...
himself as a role player who tried to masquerade
He's
as
not a
star.
role player. He's Sean Marion. He's a guy that can do it all out there, but you're not asking Sean Marion, to lead the Phoenix Suns back in the day, right? You ain't calling him a role player either, though. Like, his position was fine. He tried. It reminds me when, years ago, Reggie Jackson was backing up Russell Westbrook, and he's like, yo, I don't want to be on the bench. I don't want, I want a bigger role. And then he went to Detroit and became their starting point guard, and, well, that failed too.
The worst part is, the Nets front office truly got fooled by him. In the summer of 2023, they didn't make any significant moves at all, because according to Sean Marks, they were banking on natural improvement to return back to the playoffs.
Well, that's not smart.
That's why they re-signed Cameron Johnson to a 4-year, $94 million deal with the intention to keep this core together.
I do like Cam
Except
Johnson.
this core hasn't shown any capability of carrying this franchise.
None of them are carriers. If you get a single all-star or superstar around these guys, you're in a pretty good place. But doing that is a little bit more difficult, right? But it's like, I look at all three of these guys, and I'm like, all three of these guys are great basketball players, but they're not leading the way.
Sean Marks even rejected a trade for Jalen Green. According to Shams, the Rockets offered Jalen Green, plus multiple first-round picks they received.
Jalen Green, multiple first, that was not acceptable. Okay, so Jalen Green started balling out, I believe, towards the end of the year. Yeah, I mean, I don't blame him for rejecting it because, like the shooting guard spot wasn't really the big issue. I mean, Cam Thomas was there and everything, but I didn't really, Jalen Green, I also don't really think is like a number one option on a championship team. I think he's great, but I think he's more of a second option. But yeah, you still would have been in a decent place having, you wouldn't have Mikal anymore. Yeah, that was kind of a nothing move, in my opinion. That would not have fixed it.
From the James Harden trade years ago, and the Nets refused. Now, Green, he's had his ups and downs, we all know that, but one thing is certain, his upside is far higher than Mikal Bridges. If the Nets did make this deal, it would have given them some hope for their future. The worst part is, they're not a particularly young team either. Even during an Eastern Conference decimated by injuries, they still were not able to make the playoffs. As the rest of the conference improves in strength and gets healthy, the Nets have significantly less young talent compared to their peers. I mean, even the Detroit Pistons have Cade Cunningham, a guy with a way better chance to become a superstar. On the Nets, they have Cam Thomas, I guess, but nobody is convinced that he's that guy. They still don't have the franchise star, because he'll probably be selected in a future draft class.
I'm sorry. Atlanta Hawks.
In a similar...
I've said my set about the Atlanta Hawks in the past, okay? I don't like the Atlanta Hawks because they came at me a few years ago. Fan base did. But it's all good. Trae Young. God, I don't even know if I have a... Who is my player comparison for Trae Young? He's not a bad player. I like Trae Young, but I don't like him as number one. Like, I'm trying to think who would be who would be the perfect team to add a Trae Young to. I know a lot of people think the Spurs, which, I could see that. Because he is a great playmaker. He's kind of a shot chucker at times, though, which kind of annoys me. Like, I don't want Trae Young going to the Spurs with the mindset that he's number one, because that's not true. That's Wembanyama, right? So I think Trae kind of has some of that Carmelo Anthony type of thing going on, where it's like, okay, I know you think you're that guy, but history shows you're really not, and doesn't mean you're not a guy, you're just not that guy. You're a part of the team, you're not the main piece, and that's okay. Or even maybe him teaming up with Banchero on the Magic, that'd be interesting. Hawks do have the first pick. In my opinion, it's still a very weak draft class. Like, the best you're going to get is, like, a Jaren Jackson clone out of it. Yeah. But also, they had, like, 1% of getting it. Kind of Kongwu, he's good. You know, they moved on from Collins. They didn't move on from Capella. Give the reins to a Kongwu. That's assuming they take, if they take Sar, though, then it's like you kind of have a position jam there again, which is like, they already had one with a Kongwu coming off the bench all these years for Clint. He should have been starting, you know, becoming the next Bam. So, I don't think they're a bad team. I don't think they got a bleak future. I just think they're maybe in need of either a retool around Trae Young and using that first pick, or you just blow it up and you trade everything you got, you know, keep your pick and go from there. But having the first pick, I don't think means you have a bleak future necessarily. There's a lot of question marks there, especially with this draft class, but it's not bleak.
Similar manner as the Cavs, the trade rumors for the Hawks superstar has gotten louder and louder. Since their incredible run to the Eastern Conference Finals, the Hawks have floundered near the bottom of the playoff standings. And despite efforts to build around Trae, they haven't made any progress whatsoever. The DeJounte Murray experiment has failed.
Oh shoot, I forgot about
with evidence to back it up. When Trae and Murray are on the court together, the Hawks have a putrid net rating of minus 5.7. When only Trae is on the floor with Murray on the bench, they are plus 3.5.
Yeah, but once again, I mean, both those guys, some of their biggest strengths is ball handling. When you have two ball handlers out there, you only got one guy handling the balls. Ball.
For comparison, the Bucks as a team had a net rating of plus 2.6.
So they have a secondary playmaker, but not two primaries, if that makes sense.
If Trae played more without DeJounte, they could have been close to a 46 or 47 win team in the East, which would put them firmly in the playoffs. Heck, even when Murray is by himself with no Trae, still significantly better than when they played together. On a positive note, they do have a ton of young players, many of whom have more potential than we give them credit for.
Man, who do I want to see DeJounte
the Hawks
on?
Have another
I'm trying to think, like, who would be the perfect team for DeJounte Murray? OKC, Denver, Minnesota? Minnesota, maybe? Clippers, Dallas. Houston would be kind of interesting, too. Now they already got Fred. Brooklyn, him and Mikal could maybe get like the 10th seed. That'd be fun. Alright.
Season where they missed the playoffs? The pressure is on the organization to keep Trae in Atlanta. What's weird to me is, as of now, the reports claim the Hawks prefer moving Trae instead of Murray, with San Antonio being a front-runner to get him. For them, it makes sense. They need an actual point guard, and Trae is an incredibly underrated passer. For the Hawks, it doesn't make any sense at all. Trae is their franchise player. He's younger and better than DeJounte, and the numbers support that.
But that's the issue, is that he's their franchise player, and where's the franchise been?
The rest of the roster is the main issue. They need more of everything. You can't look at this list of players
Griffin's
and
nice.
think, oh,
DeAndre Hunter's nice. Jalen Johnson, I think, could be most improved player next season. They got some dudes here.
These guys are capable of starting on a playoff team.
That's his name.
There are so many holes, so many gaps to fill, and they're running out of time, as Trae is also getting impatient. Thank you all so much for watching.
All right.
Let me know your thoughts.
You know, I mean, let me see if there's any teams that I think have a bleaker future, comparatively speaking. I would say the first one that kind of comes to mind to me is the Miami Heat. Like, I look at this team here, and I mean, you know, Bam's nice, 26, Tyler Hero's 24, but that Jimmy Butler contract's starting to catch up. Like, you know, 20 points per game ain't bad, but it ain't great when you're paying that much money. And I mean, Scary Terry, like, he's aging out. Jaquez, I mean, he's good. He'll be something, you know. Jovic, we'll see. But I mean, I would probably say them mostly, but that's just my opinion, man. What you all think? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you all so much for watching. Peace out, my friends.